Hello and welcome to another quick tutorial of the tools in Zbrush. This is about the hide and unhide tool inside of Zbrush. Now it becomes very powerful and very useful as you get further and further along. We are popping in and out of here all the time. You can do this per object. Obviously we know that we can do solo just if there was two of these here. Control Shift D, and I'll move this one over. Oh, hello. Turn off the... There, I got two of them. We know that I can go solo and make one of them hide. Anything that's not in this layer will hide, or we can hide them by hand. But there's another tool that we use too, and I'll delete the old one so we don't get confused there. There's another tool that we use too, which is hide. Now you may think that I'm talking about this menu down here under visibility, and it is kind of the same thing. So if I take this and I make a mask around any part of the object, and then I say hide PT, hide unmasked, it'll hide this. And then I have the option of show everything. That's pretty much all they do there, or I could grow and shrink and stuff like that. But that's not the one I'm talking about. When I push Control, I get this new menu up here. And when I push Control, I can do a bunch of things like this. If I push Control Alt, I can take them off, right? Let me turn that X off of him too. And if I click off of it, it's these shortcuts for this are clicking off of the object inverts whatever's selected, and clicking off the object always inverts whatever's selecting. If you drag a mask around something and you click off, it'll invert it. If you want to deselect part of the object or part of the mask, you can push Control and Alt at the same time and drag, and you'll get that. If you want to clear the mask altogether, you click and drag off. Okay, so click Alt, click, and click drag. Okay, so, and you can also, with Control, paint if you have that tool set up. And that's what this tool is showing you, is the paint. And I'm not going to get too heavily into the tools in here, but just like any other tool inside of Zbrush, when you look at your brushes, you can see there's a bunch of options if I click on it. That's not the tool we're looking at right now. We're going to look at the hide and unhide tool. So if Control is to mask, then where do we get our hide? Well, the shortcut for hiding stuff and the controls in that is Control Shift. So if I hold Control Shift and I drag off the object, you see now I get a green box. And whatever's inside that green box is going to stay visible, but everything else on that on that poly tool is going to be hidden. So there. If I had a second poly tool, it would still be there visible. It's only going to be affecting the poly tool you're working on. In this case, here. Okay, so now I've hid part of the object. Let's say I want to hide specific parts of the object and not see that, instead of trying to drag it around the whole thing. If I hold Control, Shift, and Alt, and I drag, it hides exactly what I put the red box over. So you'll know when you're adding, it's the green, but you can also push Alt in the middle of it and it'll turn red. So if I push Alt, it goes red. If I let go of Alt and Shift and Control are still selected, it goes green. So now I've got it hidden. I've got exactly what I want to look at. Now what do I do if I want to get it back? Or let's say I want to invert it. Those are the two things you can do with mask, so I assume it's the two things you can do with visibility. It is, and they are the same controls, but they're opposite. So if you want to show the whole thing in masking, you hold Control and you drag out like this off the object, and it'll get rid of the mask. In this case, it actually inverts your selection of what's hidden. And then if you want to invert your selection with a mask, you push Control and click off the object. Just click and not drag. And in this case, it's the opposite. It just makes it hidden. So I'll just say it real straightforward again, so you don't have to hear it compared to. It's an annoyance. But if I go like this, and then I want to show everything, I Control Shift and click off the object. If I go like this and I want to invert that mask, I Control Shift and drag off the object. And that's it. So basic tools of how to use it. This is all I'm showing you because there's a lot of other tools that add to the control of this. It's super easy to use, but you just have to know those little shortcuts because it's not simple to use without shortcuts. All right, that's it for this lesson.